Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. So today I am coming to you with kind of like a talk through tutorial on the look that I have on right now. This look is using the Anastasia Subculture palette. I decided that I wanted to give it a try. I'd seen a couple of people putting up some eye looks that I thought, wow, those look really beautiful, and they're very fall-like, but not in your typical warm eyeshadow palette fall-like thing. It's got a lot of green. It has a lot of really grungy, muddy tones that I really wasn't drawn to start with. I hated this palette when I first looked at it. I was like, oh hell no, I am not getting that palette. That's awful. And then I saw the reviews and I'm like, oh, I am so happy I did not want to buy that palette. And then I saw a few more videos come out recently where people were using the palette and they were using it well. And I'm like, oh my God, that palette is beautiful. It's got some really great colors in it. And I was feeling stuck in a warm shadow palette rut. So I thought that I would get this palette and try it out and see what I could do with it. See if I could come up with some everyday looks using it. And well, this is kind of, I don't know if you would classify this as everyday. This is sort of everyday for me. I just wanted to see if I could do something with those colors because they are so different from what I normally use, and I wanted to kind of push myself outside of the box and see what I could do. And I actually have been enjoying the palette tremendously. I think it is a very beautiful palette. I think that it got a really bad rap to start with, which is too bad. I think that it is workable. You just have to know how. So I'm kind of going to talk you through how I came up with this eye look and how I work with the palette and my experiences with it. I really hope that you enjoy this, and let's go ahead and get started on the tutorial. Okay, and I totally didn't realize that I had my mic plugged in, but I didn't have it turned on. So I'm going to be doing a voiceover for this part of the video. And I'm talking about how I've already applied my foundation, my eyeshadow primer, my brows, and then just talking about how I like both of those colors. But really, I'm going to be going in with Edge as part of the transition, and using a fluffy crease brush and just building the color up slowly. And then taking a more dense crease brush, and I'm going in with New Wave and just adding a little bit more of that into the actual crease to deepen things up just a touch. And again, building it up very slowly. You have to be very careful with these shadows and just go a little bit at a time. Next, I'm going in with Fudge, and I'm adding that to the crease to kind of add a little bit more depth. And just buffing it in and blending it in. And very little, that is how much I used on there. I don't know, that didn't make any sense. Anyway, what I was saying is I'm adding Fudge right now to this part of my crease. And what I was saying is that this particular eyeshadow palette, I would not recommend that. I would not recommend this for beginners. This is not a beginner's palette, both from the perspective of the colors, because the colors are definitely different. But also just because you have to be super gentle with it. And a beginner would probably give up using this palette. So I would not advise that beginners use the palette. I really am loving this brush. Okay, so next I'm gonna go in with I really enjoy this color here, All Star. It's like a burgundy, but it comes across on the lid as kind of like a purple to me. It's got a lot of purple undertone. And for this particular color, I'm going to go in with an even tighter little brush. And this is a Morphe S20, but it's just a tiny, tight little, and I've used it for this shadow in the past, you see. It's a tiny little brush that will give me, again, the control that I'm looking for with this color. And I'm going to place that in the outer corner. And I'm just putting it there for some dimension. Honestly, this eye look is like super easy. There's not a lot to it. You just have to be really careful with the shadows in this palette. Otherwise, you'll end up looking like a hot mess. So just going in very gently with that color and putting it just on the outer corner. I'm not even pulling it in. I'm just laying it down right here on the outer corner. Dipping in tiny bit. I mean, even with those small dips though, I will say that you can tell that I've been in the shadows. Now, in all fairness, with the Anastasia Renaissance palette, that happens as well. So it's not unique to this palette. It's just that the Renaissance palette, the colors don't get away from you as easily. All right, I think for the lid, I want to do a deep green on the under eye because I haven't used this teal color yet. It's called Axis, and I'm going to go in first with Adorn, which is this bronzy, this shimmery bronzy color. And I know that with the shimmers, I've had to kind of scrape at them with my brush in order to get any kind of payoff from them. Laying down this beautiful, beautiful bronze color on the lid. Next, I'm going with that little brush again, and I'm just gonna kind of blend those two together. Going in with whatever's left on this brush and just gonna define that a little bit. Okay, and so I have my upper eye look for now. I'm gonna leave it alone. For the lower lash line, this is the most beautiful kind of fall type eyeliner that I have. It is Workout by ColourPop. It's their cream gel liner. Sorry, I got into the sunshine there. Really love to use this to line my lower lash line. It's almost like a blackened forest green or a blackened emerald. And I'm going to take that and I'm going to bring it down to the lash line just a little bit. Alright, next I'm going to go in with this little detail brush. I'm going to take Axis, which is this really pretty teal color right here, and I'm going to apply that to my lower lash line. This is one of the colors that people seem to have the most trouble with, and I'm just going to smudge that out. I'm going to take New Wave and I'm going to put that underneath the green just to give it a little bit of dimension. And I think these two colors look so beautiful, would look beautiful, you know, layered or like near each other. I do want to do kind of like a smoky eye with this palette because I think it screams smoky eye. So that might be coming. I'm going to go in with a little bit of edge and layer that on top. They said that this palette was the sister palette to the Modern Renaissance palette, and I think what they meant by that, actually I'm pretty sure what they meant by that, is that, you know, the Renaissance was an art movement, right? And I looked it up, I did some research on Google because I thought, thinking back, I'm all like, wasn't subculture an art movement as well? And it was. It was an art movement in the 90s. It was mostly graffiti art. I'm just touching that up a little bit. Mostly graffiti art, but it was art that you could find on the walls in the cities in the 90s. And it's kind of funny because when you think about Renaissance art, it was art that was painted on walls in the Renaissance. The difference being is that the Renaissance paintings were commissioned and the graffiti art isn't always commissioned. I thought it was very interesting that, you know, they came up with that idea to do an art movement inspired palette, but that was almost like polar opposite to the Renaissance palette. I thought that was really, really cool. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and apply my mascara and my lashes off camera, and I will be right back. All right, so I've got my lashes and stuff on. I want to experiment with this bright green color a little bit. I want to kind of play around a little bit and see what I can do with brightening the color up and mixing my greens slightly. And I really like that because I think it brightened things up. I realized I didn't do anything for my upper brows. Usually that's okay, but I don't know. I'm gonna go in with this color here, Cube, to do that. And I don't know if you can see, but I mixed these two colors the first time I used it, and I left an imprint of this peachy color in Cube. It's a little annoying. I hate, you know, I'm kind of a neat freak like that, and I hate when things mix up that way. But anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and just put a little bit of this on the upper brow, just to give it a little pop of light. I find that the color Cube is got a little bit of pink tone, but it's kind of hard to show up. It doesn't show up that well. But anyway, just gave it a little bit of light underneath the brow bone, or underneath my brow. Okay, and then I'm gonna go ahead and just take this shade here, Dawn, this peachy shade, and kind of transition it up to that color so that it doesn't look kind of disconnected, like it's just floating out there. Then I'm going to tight line my upper lid with my usual standby Marc Jacobs gel eyeliner in Blacker. Let me finish up my face and I will be right back. I wanted to put some of the electric color actually on my inner corner, so let me go ahead and do that really quickly and then I will wrap up. Electric, for me at any rate, it works best if I use my finger. See? Much better with the finger than with a brush. Okay, so now the look is finished. Now that I have that inner corner pop of light, I love this electric shade as an inner corner highlight using this palette. It was brilliant to put that color in there because it's different, and but it does shine and sparkle and look really beautiful. I think that it also makes a really pretty transformer shade in some of the other looks that I came up with. That's this makeup look. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please give me a thumbs up. If you've tried this palette, leave your comments down below and let me know what you think of it and how you work with it in order to make it work, or if it didn't work out for you. I'm sure the folks that read the comments are interested in knowing as well. If you're new to my channel and you're not subscribed, please hit the red subscribe button so that you'll get more content from me, and also hit the notification bell so that you'll be notified anytime I have new content out. If you're a returning viewer, thank you so much. I really appreciate you coming by, and I will see you in the next one. Bye everyone.